Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, okay. And okay. So, hi everybody. My name is David Giller, and this is my beautiful wife, Helene Abrams Giller. And we're thrilled to be hosting tonight's call with Mynoo, co-hosting with Mynoo, The Age of Brilliance. This is part 7. It's about quantum manifestation. Part 2, last week we covered the first 6, and now it's the 7 quantum manifestation points. Becoming the Manifestor, 12 stepping stones to quantum harmony with Mynoo Maryel. What if manifestation is not something you do, but something you become? This is not just a session, it's a sacred crossing, a portal into the hidden world of quantum manifestors, where timelines bend and harmony becomes your home frequency. So with that, Helene and I would love to introduce to you Mynoo Maryel and for her words of wisdom tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David and Helene. And then as people come into the waiting room, you could let them in.
Yes,
That would be great.
Uh-huh.
And even as I'm going through this, if there's something that shows up for you that you would like to share or ask, please, interrupt. And if any of you have any burning questions that arise, message in the chat. And David and Helene, if you could just look up for the chats if there are any. Okay. So yes, let's begin. This is the 7th in the series of Age of Brilliance. These are the 7 portals, remember, we are talking about. And we are on this portal of quantum manifestation. Last week, we focused on the quantum field itself, really understanding a quantum field and how, if you work with a quantum field, how it can completely transform your own ability to manifest anything. Today, the focus is on the nuances that are hidden in you becoming that manifestor, which masters the quantum manifestation. And the secret there lies in being in a state of harmony and accomplishing that state of harmony, across your quantum field as well. So let's look at what we are looking at here. Now there are 12 stepping stones that you can you can travel. It's like a journey. It's a journey you go through, evolving from one to the next, and not sort of dropping in between. So I'm going to be talking about the journey across these 12 stepping stones. So, let's begin with an activation for ourselves. Okay, so if you were activating this quantum state of harmony, you would breathe in. So you breathe in, and this time you're breathing in not just air, you're breathing in awareness. And so we can just even have a go. So just breathe in. Yes, you can feel the air going in. And now just expand your attention to as if you're breathing in awareness. And allow the awareness of your environment, of the space that you're in, to really go into you. And then when you breathe out, you're literally breathing out anything that does not serve you, that may exist in your space. You just have another go at that. Breathe in. Now you know you're breathing in, not just air, but awareness. This time, allow this awareness to expand from your space into your entire field. Our entire field is very expansive. And as you're breathing out anything at all that does not serve you. So the session today isn't just a talk. It isn't just a moment where I'm giving you a lecture. It is actually a return. It is a sacred remembrance of what has always lived within you. You are here to manifest. And you're not here to manifest from want. You are here to become the field from which reality births. And that is really the secret of quantum manifestation, where you become the field from which reality births. In this age of brilliance, manifestation is not about controlling outcomes, which is where our mind naturally goes. And hey, that's a good starting point. And that's why I'm talking about quantum, because quantum naturally connects you to your field. It is actually about activating the frequencies that call reality to form through you. It's not a method. It is a metamorphosis. It is where you are the portal. You are the pulse. You are the proof of it occurring, such that you meet your reality, whatever it is that you have desired, and others see it too. So let's begin. Let's begin this journey of the 12 stepping stones to quantum harmony. And that is what results in everything that I have talked about. The 12 stepping stones to quantum harmony go from seeking to shaping, from longing to living, from wanting to being. Each stone is not a step forward, it is a step inward. It is a sacred threshold that restores your coherence. It refines your field and reawakens the manifestor that's already within you. And you know where this manifestor that is already within you originates from? Each of us is the essence of the creator. And a creator knows that the creator has a choice of what it wishes to create. And it can create anything at any time. And creation transcends and can uniquely exist in each of the 6 cylinders: physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, and environmentally. And it is that return to you as that creator, that remembrance is what we are reawakening with these stepping stones. So let's look at the first one. The first stepping stone is, and when these are transmissions, so I don't edit anything. I just allow whatever is flowing to flow through. And the way it is expressed, the first stepping stone is the whisper of willingness. This is a key to understand that all creation begins not with force, but with permission. Permission is you permitting yourself to live the mission of your soul. I was just talking to David and Helene, and some of you might have heard from me, which is I have just completed my next book. And this is the first of a trilogy, which is focused on business, work, and you and your presence in it. And the first book focuses on flow, which is flourishing leadership. It is the secrets of flourishing leaders. If and this is my material that I've been using for the last 40 years, and it has refined and it has actually defined me. So if I had used force, like bull force, to get it done, I have a very busy time from June onwards, traveling in different parts of the world. So if I had said, I'm going to get this done, which I have done in the past, and used force, I just would not have been able to get it done. The amazing thing is, I have a team of about 4 people. So when I first write something, I just take it from start to finish. I don't even read it. I just bring it all together and it get it done from start to finish. And then I share it with these 4 or 5 people for their initial inputs. And amazing thing is, I'm now like doing time collapse here because I have a very big program I'm doing with 100 students starting from the 20th of June, and it's a summer camp for 5 weeks. So I would love to have this book there, and I would love to have this book already a #1 bestseller. Now that will take time collapse, and I'm putting it out there that it occurs. For that to happen, my readers that give me my first feedback, they needed to respond literally within 2 days. Overnight, I get the response from the first one, and that gets me to actually restructure the book, but the response is very valuable. So I'm like literally the whisper of willingness is where I went. This is the stepping stone that I was standing on. And therefore, not only did I get that response so fast, because clearly there was a time collapse even for him. This is my 40 years of work on leadership. So it's not just a story. It's like, over 200 pages. I don't know how many words it is, how many thousands, tens of thousands of words it is, but it is a substantive book. So for him also to be able to read it, not because he's going to give me a check in the box, but actually to read it with the intention of giving me some useful feedback. Also, he experienced a time collapse because he took it on with intentionality. Now, as a result of what he sent me back, I believe it really helped the book become even richer in such a way that people can experience that richness and not be overwhelmed by it. And that was this. All creation begins not with force, but with permission. Willingness is your sacred yes before you understand how. So my intuition will be great to have the book on flow, which is about flourishing leadership, ready and bestseller already by the 20th of June. I said yes. I didn't necessarily know how, because this was not something that I had planned and prepared for. Those of you who've done book writing, you do plan and prepare for it and allocate time towards it. So it was amazing that it all came together, but it was this stepping stone that supported it. So, and what does the stepping stone do? It actually creates a frequency that opens up a field. And what is that field that gets opened up doing? It is actually signaling to the universe and all other forces that are here to support you that I am ready to be reshaped by my own truth. The second stepping stone, you can spend a whole day simply on the stepping stone of the whisper of willingness. Like literally take different aspects of your life where something may be stuck, or different aspects of situation, or different situations where someone you really care about may be stuck and it bothers you. And you stand on that stepping stone and allow solutions to be revealed to you by simply using the power, the power of this frequency, which will create that signal, and then write down whatever it is that flows to you. The second stepping stone is it is the sanctuary of stillness. In the absence of noise, miracles are audible. It's not that miracles aren't occurring all the time. You've heard me say a miracle is where something beautiful occurs that makes your heart sing. So they are occurring all the time. You just don't necessarily hear it. You don't necessarily connect to it because they're not audible. There's too much noise. Stillness is where the quantum field begins to speak, not through ideas, but through impulse. That actually you feel it in your pulse. You feel alive as you're receiving these impulses. And an impulse is something that propagates us and propels us to get into action. And some of you who've been working with me for a while have heard me say this for a few years now, that it's not about silence, it's really about stillness. And silence gives you access to stillness. Even though if you've done a silence meditation, as I have done many of these, it is the most noisy time where so much of your um, inner stuff, and some of it is intuitive, some of it is stuff that's wanting to leave your field, surfaces. Stillness can occur. You could be talking to people, you could be in the middle of a concert, you could be walking, you could be cooking, you could be doing whatever, and be in a state of stillness. Stillness automatically gets you, all of you, inside your physical body, and you start becoming a very acute observer whilst you're engaged in doing the work that you're doing. So as I was preparing this book, yes, there is a body of work that I have, which it came out of a 6-year research study. And from that emerged, and this is a study where I studied in depth about 258 different leaders who are causing extraordinary results. And my intention was to understand, what is it that they do differently when they cause extraordinary results and do it time and time again. And from that emerged what I call as the 7 habits of inspired leaders. I also learned the deadly sins of leadership. And so that has been there for me for a while, and it is perfectly structured. I talk about it, I've written about it, and I've used it to run my Inspired Leaders programs for years, decades. Now, when I'm creating a book on flourishing leaders, what makes an inspired leader a flourishing leader? Flourishing isn't something that you do alone. It is something that you take people along. And here I'm writing about flourishing leaders in the age of brilliance. And there is so much work that I have created since I did the 6-year study. So for me to pick and choose which bodies of work are relevant for this book, there was so much noise, even in my own field, with so many pieces that existed, each one wanting to be featured in this book. But I got into the sanctuary of stillness and literally allowed that impulse to guide me on what I work with. And I was navigating through the playlist that most of you here have access to. And I just picked the ones that I had the impulse to pick. And then when I picked it up, and then I plotted it on my mind map for the book, for the longest time, I kept looking at, am I getting the pulse of this book yet? Is the book all together yet? I was literally being this creator, seeing this body of work come to life. And there was a point where it was pulsating, it was humming, and everything just simply came together. So here, what you do here is you stop trying to make sense. Instead, you start to make space so that everything can fit. Like if you're doing a jigsaw, the jigsaw puzzle is a perfect analogy for what I'm talking about here. And Arshaji, your question about, is this about thoughtlessness, or there's something about stillness? Is it physical and thoughtless? It is physical and thoughtless, both. And when you actually go into stopping to attempt to make sense, instead you start making space. Remember, a lot of us in this light work space, light work field, talk about we hold the space. Here you are making the space. So if you have a jigsaw puzzle that you're putting together, in the jigsaw puzzle may actually simply be a small, 12 by 12 jigsaw puzzle. But actually, when it begins, all of those pieces take up quite a lot of space. But if you don't have the space, it's much harder to get that jigsaw to actually come together. So here I am. Some pieces I have it in journals in my book. For some pieces, I have it written down in journals. Other pieces are there which are already typed up. Some are there in the form of videos. Some are there in the form of courses that are there in a curriculum. And so some of them are there in the form of recordings that exist through pearls of wisdom and nuggets of wisdom and all of navigating the unknown that are there on YouTube. So it wasn't as if I had the physical space to fit all of that in. I had to literally allow that space, holding the intention of what I'm attempting to pull together finally. And that's where this, stillness is where quantum begins to speak, was a phenomenon that I experienced, and different pieces came together. The interesting thing was the book that is fully written, with maybe 10% I would tidy up, given that we are in a slightly different time zone, is my second book in the trilogy. And I thought that would be the book that I would get going, because 20th of June is not that far. What I didn't realize was it was going to be a whole new book. And it would not have been possible without the sanctuary of stillness. So in my book time segment, I literally stepped into this sanctuary of stillness. That meant I didn't have to take the whole day to create it. That meant I could do it in half-an-hour chunks. And I had about 4 different half-an-hours each day just working on the book. Some days it was 6 hours is what happened, but they were still in half-an-hour chunks. So I was completing and finishing. This is something that I learned being in the sanctuary of stillness, where I got that, I have to get from impulse to pulse. That happens when I complete something. So getting into a space where I actually complete a chapter or complete a particular philosophy that I'm putting across, or complete a mind map, that occurs in 30 minutes. If I allow 2 hours, it can easily stretch itself across 2 hours and may still not be finished. But in 30 minutes, impulse turns to pulse. The job is done. And then I develop a cadence of actually completing. And I become a completer finisher in terms of my own relationship to myself. I become someone who can take things from start across the finish line. Very important for us as creators. There are some of us who are creators to be able to do that. Because once I do that, which is what I've done now, I just have this second piece where there's in a cohort of people that are going to be reading it, whilst the developmental editor is already working on it. So now once I send it out to my circle that has said yes to reading the book, and it is that with the developmental editor, there's a whole new team that takes over, getting the book to publishing, and then there's a new team that comes in that takes the book into getting it out in the world. At which point I come back and really give my inner circle the opportunity to work with the book. So what you're doing here is, on the stepping stone, like I said, you stop trying to make sense. Trying already is so trying. It's exhausting. Especially when it comes to making sense, we always land up in the realm of trying. Instead, you make space. And then you're able to see wood from the trees. The third stepping stone. The third stepping stone is the fire of clear choice. The fire of clear choice. I just love these phrases. A manifestor chooses as though the reality already exists, because it does. Ask and it is given. That is a fact. There is no doubt about that. It is given into your energy vortex. So that very simple breathing in, where you were breathing in not just air, but also awareness, is a very powerful way in which you start to understand what makes up your energy vortex, because that is your field. And this whole breathing in awareness and then breathing out all that doesn't serve, in this whole space of awareness that you have, you actually are clearing out your field of clutter. And in doing that, you start to see what already exists in your reality, all those things that you have desired. This is a really important piece. If you declare yourself as a manifestor, there is no what if. There is no undertone. You choose your reality, that which you wish to manifest, as if it already exists, because it does. Clarity. And when you operate from this clarity, what does it do? It cuts through distortion. It literally dissolves noise. But the cutting through distraction is a very important piece. So I have a process that I do of visualization. I think Dea is here, and Dea, you've done this with me a number of times, called VAC, where I envision that which is going to occur visually, auditorily, and kinesthetically. So at a vision level, I see what has already occurred. And in seeing what has already occurred, I place myself in the center of that which is already manifested, which is as a vision. And then I zoom in and look at myself in the midst of what I have envisioned already having occurred. And I describe to myself, what do I look like? I then activate my kinesthetic sense, which is the listening sense, the hearing sense. And I look out for the kind of words I'm using when what I have manifested already is there. And how am I feeling? That's the kinesthetic activation. And then I allow myself to go into this space that has now been created. But when you're doing a VAC, of visual, auditory, kinesthetic visioning, you are already in a state of stillness. So you have already transcended. from desiring something to actually, really creating this space. In that space, you look around and you see people that are around you, that are, encouraging you, looking out for you, or watching you even, judging you, evaluating you. And then you start to vision, what do they look like if you've already accomplished what you are here to accomplish? What sort of words are they using? And how are they feeling? And from that space, you can look back at where you are right now and allow yourself to see what was missing and essential that you put in place that got you the clarity which facilitated this breakthrough to occur. And it is often a way of being. You choose that way of being, put it in place. Now you get into your physical body, and your job is to change the state of inertia by getting moving. So you choose an action that you will take in the next 20 minutes, another action that you will get accomplished in the next 24 hours. Your bandwagon is rolling. And clear choice, distortion lifts, clarity sets in. And and literally there's a fire in your belly already because the movement has begun and you have fueled that movement. So the sparks are already ignited. And that's why this stepping stone is called the fire of clear choice. So this stepping stone commands the field with certainty. There's no more dabbling. You declare. So I declared to my team that is going to do the book work that this is the date when the book has to be ready for me to be able to use. So therefore, get everything together. And the first thing, the project manager who drives this editing as well as publishing part said, can you send me a summary? The book did not exist at that time when I made that declaration. So I said to him, well, give me a weekend. Give me this weekend and I'll get you the summary on Monday. But it actually didn't happen by the end of that weekend. It took until Thursday for me to be able to send him the summary. But that's fine. I actually got it done in a matter of 4 days. I thought 5 weeks was a big accomplishment to go from start to finish with the B book. And this was 5 days. But that's because I was using each of these stepping stones. This stone commands the field with certainty, no more dabbling, you declare. And many of you have heard me say there's great power in declaration. David, Helene, should I continue?
Yeah, I just wanted to did you want to say something?
No, okay.
Well, I just wanted to say about the whole thing about clearing out everything so you can get ready for
The next step.
the miracle to happen. It's like if you have a closet filled with old clothes, and you know that in order for you to manifest new clothes, you have to really like clean out that closet and make room so it could just come in, everything could be flowing and easy rather than having to get it in here.
Yeah, so true, so true. What I really liked was there's so much of what I'm talking about in the context of manifestation we already know. But when I'm talking about these stepping stones, and I don't know, I'm noticing my pace is a bit slow because I just talk about the stepping stone and it's as if I'm on it, and then suddenly everything starts to, reveal itself. And that's so what you may already be aware of, what you may understand, it hasn't necessarily landed in a realm of knowing. And what working with these stepping stone does is everything that you know about manifestation, it gets into a space of knowing. And that is how you become this quantum manifester. When you are in a state of knowing, you are in complete harmony. And hence, the 12 stepping stones are all about you accomplishing that quantum harmony. Harmony not just within your physical being, but also with your quantum field. That is really the nuanced secret. So let's look at the fifth stepping stone. The fifth stepping stone is the mirror. It's the mirror of inner myth. Every belief that lives unexamined becomes a ceiling. This is a very important phrase. Every belief that lives unexamined becomes a ceiling. So there are beliefs that we are not consciously thinking ourselves, you know. However, maybe they are cultural, maybe they are in the field, maybe they are to do with your lineage or stuff that you've just taken for granted and you don't even think about anymore. For the longest time, it was like, oh, I shouldn't have too much water because even water makes me put on weight because so much of my weight is water retention. That was a belief that I had. And it is a completely the other way around. You don't drink water, your body really does store water. And it starts to, become more and more inflamed because your kidneys are not flushing out very well. It was a belief that remained unexamined and it became a ceiling. So getting up close and personal with all the beliefs, look, your experience of life is a direct function of what you believe. So let's get conscious and examine your beliefs, not as a process, even you acknowledging this is what you believe actually starts to reawaken you. The ceilings break down. Now you can choose to create a new thought, think it a lot, and it becomes a new belief as a matter of your choice. So when you examine the beliefs, first of all, when you start examining your beliefs, it's a very conscious act. And then the more you examine, the more that space is created, unconscious and subconscious beliefs start to surface. So standing on the stepping stone, it cracks open the old stories as stories, and that liberates the real you. That's what happens. I just really love the inner myth, the whole concept of the inner myth. You do not just dissolve limitation, you reclaim the limitlessness of your soul presence. And what are you reclaiming, therefore? You're reclaiming your infinite script such that you understand and you know that you are a manifester and you are so fortunate to be working with limitless, infinite possibilities that you can harness. With the clarity that comes from stillness, you can connect the dots and the manifestation is a given. The sixth stepping stone is the costume of the future you. So here you quantum leap by embodying the end point now, which is what I'm talking about, that occurs with the VAC, visual, auditory, kinesthetic visioning. Following that process, you've quantum leaped and you've embodied that end point. And you brought that end point into your being with conscious awareness. So you see what you look like, what you speak like, how you're feeling. And that in itself allows you to decide like the person that is already manifesting that which you desire. So you decide like it. You dress like it. You speak like it. You decide like it. It's not a performance. This is not a performance. It is a resonance. And your nervous system learns that you belong here. And that is where your desires in the VAC, so many times when we do the VAC, before any meeting, including a session like this, I would do an envisioning of how it's going to turn out, including the words that people would say, the words that I would experience, that would come through me. And lo and behold, that's exactly what occurs. That's because what I'm talking about here is what is occurring. Your quantum field is embodying that endpoint now, and your nervous system completely responds exactly in that way. Now, David and Helene, you were talking about how so much is going on. You've desired and envisioned this, for so long, so many decades. And the more you become resonant with the endpoint, the more you just are going to be meeting your desires because they've already been created. They already exist in your quantum field.
It is done. So we have a comment from Asha. She said the first point of intention, which we did last week, makes so much sense now, is what you're saying.
Yes, indeed, indeed. Indeed. I mean, this body of work that is coming through really is just like there's something called a Course in Miracles that was downloaded all those years ago to this amazing woman. What I'm doing here is akin to that. It literally is, and it's wonderful to see Asha ji and several others who are actually going through it, piece by piece. And you can then see how the dots connect. Let's look at the seventh stepping stone. The seventh stepping stone is the chamber of cadence. Cadence, my God, it is a rhythm. It is a rhythm of propulsion forward to exactly that which you desire. And what is important here is in this age of brilliance, as you've heard me say many times now, time is not linear. It is responsive. Because it is responsive, time collapse is the reality of the age of brilliance. Cadence is the rhythm of receivership. What are you receiving? You are receiving the recognition and the experience of that which you have always desired, that which you have already manifested, actually coming up, showing up in your reality. The next strategy is really one sacred action at a time. And when you take that one action and the next and the next and the next, you develop a cadence. So this stepping stone brings momentum. It brings momentum without any pressure, without any burnout. That's what happens. I mean, I would say in this book, writing this book, I got the nuances of how to get cadence with which you begin and get to the finish line in the context of creating your book. It was important to go from start to finish in writing about the secrets of flourishing leaders. Before I decided I was going to actually group them, because there is a foundation to the operations that these flourishing leaders have. And then there is a way in which they integrate their, their habits in how, and that is a secret to how flourishing becomes a reality, because flourishing isn't just about the individual. The individual operates from a space of brilliance. But I took that next step next. I wrote all of the 12 secrets. That's what I wrote about. And then when I questioned, okay, where is this coming from? What is it that makes these guys operate from these secrets? I really got some 4 or 5 very important pieces which form the foundation. And that also is a secret that sometimes these flourishing leaders themselves are not aware of. So then the chapters around the foundation came about. And then it was like, okay, so practically, if somebody else wishes to take this on, how can they integrate these secrets? How can they integrate this way of operating even before they have the foundation? The integration section came about. And I'm pretty confident that as people read it and give me their feedback over the next 2 weeks, there will be some amazing nuggets that will come through that. But it was taking that next step next. It is the next step next strategy that gives you cadence. Taking one step at a time creates a stop, start, which means you're constantly using up so much of your resources to shift a state of inertia. When you take the next step next, the bandwagon is rolling and then it starts to gain speed and then you go into cruise control. And that's what this stone, the chamber of cadence, enables and activates. Very, very powerful one. Very powerful one. And you will find, David, Helene, you've been on a roll at times. And there are other times where you've been, working with what you've already created. And you will know when you're being on a roll, you are in this chamber of cadence. And suddenly resources that you didn't even know existed show up.
That's what's happening right now, actually.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
miracles every
Exactly.
day. Miracles are happening every day.
Absolutely. Yes. And the more you notice them, the more you work with them rather than just simply ignore and not even realize they occur, the more you acknowledge and notice them, the more regenerative they become. Remember, the foundation, one of the 10 commandments I talk about, is it's not about sustainable anymore, it's about regenerative. So that is just the foundation. That is just the energy right now. As long as you get yourself into that pure alignment and coherence, actually, with your brilliance, you're in the age of brilliance, regeneration will occur. Thriving is the end result. I've had people say to me, I know you're talking about the age of brilliance, but look at these wars. I mean, what happened? The India-Pakistan war that sort of has emerged, and various other pieces. And my whole thing is, I'm saying to you, remember when I talked about breathe in, not just air, but awareness, and when you breathe out, by having expanded your breath, not just within your body, but throughout the entire field that you're expanding your awareness to. When you breathe out, you're actually flushing out, you're cleaning out. That is taking place. So as a result, there is a big flush out that is also happening. The earth is also breathing. So it's flush out that is happening. And that is why, yes, you are having wars here, there, and everywhere. And they are there, they're strong. There's so much technology available to connect them all. They're not connecting together, you know? And they begin, and after a while, they do fizzle out. So it's okay. We simply have to remain in this space, holding the space for the age of brilliance to get anchored and release whatever that might come in the way of that. Keeping that faith and remaining in your inner truth. So the eighth, I have to keep track of time. The eighth stepping stone. Oh God, I just love these stepping stones. The eighth stepping stone is the liquid crystal of trust. The liquid crystal of trust. I have had a little bit of a lecture from my Leo, my grandson, the 7-year-old now, who's plugged into the cosmos, about liquid crystals. So when I actually got this, I was, oh, liquid crystal of trust is actually a stepping stone. So let's look what that actually means in this context. We can talk about liquid crystals and how Elio explained it another time. Trust is not hoping. It is the surrender to, some higher power but it is a surrender that allows orchestration. It is the frequency that says, I release control and I never release alignment. So if you are in the realm of alignment, you are actually in the trajectory of heading towards flowing in your flow. And as you get into the flowing in your flow, you're in the trajectory of coherence. So with conscious awareness, declaring, I release control, but I never release alignment, you know you will get to coherence. And when you get to coherence to what it is that you've desired, it occurs. It occurs. And really what is happening here is, that's why trust is a stake in the ground. Declaration is the fuel that enables the stake in the ground to open up, and orchestration takes hold, and all the resources, people, places, opportunities, tender, call for proposals, requests for proposals, all of those start to happen. That's where the orchestration is taking place. And there's so much, when you attempt to control, you can only orchestrate resources that you know about. But really, if you do plug into the vision that your soul being, which is limitless and eternal and unstoppable, that has been and is indestructible too, that has come here to express itself through your human form, it can be overwhelming. The vision of what you see can be overwhelming. For that, the only way to manifest that is a quantum manifestation way. And that calls for you to release control, hang in there with alignment, so that orchestration can start to unfold, where you, the universe, and others that are orchestrated to you and through you start to operate like your ecosystem of quantum manifestation. Here, what is happening on this stepping stone is the unseen begins to reveal its choreography. I didn't know why I said this. Even in my business world, I used to say, when it comes to communication, when it comes to, really getting your message out there, it's a dance. If you wish to have loyal customers turn into raving fans, it's a dance. Sometimes you lead and sometimes they lead. But a lot of the times when you're operating from control, you actually are not the best choreographer. Imagine controlling exactly how a tango goes. It is going to be only in this space and stuff. There is a rhythm, there is a movement, there is a style, there is a dynamic.
So we went to a concert the other night with a group called
Unmute.
we went to a concert at Carnegie Hall the other night with this group, Air Supply, and how they had that audience literally eating out of their hands. And they just go like this with the microphone, and they don't sing, but the whole audience sang, knew all the words, and it was the most incredible feeling
Wow.
to be there and have the audience like taking over the show. And they just orchestrated that so beautifully.
Amazing. We are seeing some of what I'm talking about here in action here.
Yeah.
More and more of such magic is going to reveal itself. So let's look at the ninth stepping stone to becoming to getting into the state of quantum harmony, which is what makes you a quantum manifestor. This is the breath of belonging. The breath of belonging. You are not separate from the quantum field. You are the field. And it's woven into a living web of synchronicity and support. We've already done the session on synchronicity. And everything that we have done so far is building up to this complete knowingness that we are the quantum field and our web of synchronicity and support is already woven. It's just a matter of us allowing ourselves to receive it. And a lot of the time we don't, because either we are protecting ourselves, or we feel we don't belong, or we feel that we are not seen, or we are in the realm of lack. All of that stuff. But the moment you get into the space and you're in a knowingness, I belong, belonging dissolves effort. It dissolves effort. When you arrive here, creation actually becomes on command. It becomes the command. I have to say, I mean, it's now I'm thinking with the benefit of hindsight, with what occurred last week. So we have a weekly call every Monday. The whole team gets together in flow, and we have a weekly call. On Monday, I was 2 chapters into the book. On that Monday, and I declared there that I'm going to have this book done, and it will be out with the first group of reviewers by the end of the week. And I have to say, I needed to have all of the resources, known and unknown, to come together. And for that, this was the stepping stone that really served me, where I became one with my quantum field. And effort dissolved. That is the key thing. But when you know that you belong, you know you're not alone. You know you have collaborators and co-creators. Effort dissolves. Did I actually reach out to any collaborator or co-creator in the context of writing the book? I didn't. Not that because I didn't want to, I just didn't need to. I had amazing support with the technologies of technologies of the day. And yes, Anne, my assistant, helped me massively, where I would send her voice recordings or some material and get her to convert it, transcribe it, so that I could work with the transcriptions. And these transcriptions were happening so fast because of all the technology that is there. So I had an amazing group of supporters that came in. I totally believed I was in this web of synchronicity and support. So belonging dissolves effort. That is the key thing to remember. When you arrive here on this stepping stone, creation it just flows. It's as if you say and it's done. And whatever effort you put into it doesn't seem like effort at all. That's what happens. Just like the 10 songs that you're talking about, David and Helene, that have come together, didn't feel like effort at all. And yet it is decades of your work that has led to this wonderful album that is coming out very soon. The 10th, oh God, we are already on time. The 10th stepping stone is the blessing of bold action. A single courageous act can collapse 1,000 hesitations. The quantum moves in response to your movement. So when you take a courageous act, the dissolving of thousands of hesitations takes place. Your field is clear. You're one with the quantum field that you're in. And that cadence kicks in, momentum is integrated, and you're moving forward at a pace that you couldn't have imagined. This is space bending. This is time collapse. This stone opens up the vault And what is it that opens up the vault? Your yes. Your yes becomes the permission slip, if you like, for your destiny to unfold. Yes, David Helene. Perfect. Awesome. The 11th stepping stone is the stream of frequency hygiene. I'm just going to go with whatever is here rather than, give you examples right now, because I want to get to the 12th within a couple of minutes. The stream of frequency hygiene, your field is sacred. Your energy is sovereign. What you consume, absorb, and tolerate either magnetizes or muddies. It's entirely up to you to make those choices. This stone, it clears the static. You become a clean channel of creation. And hence the awareness breath. Breathe in awareness. Because when you breathe in awareness, what you breathe out is that which doesn't serve or doesn't belong in your field. And that enables you to be this clear channel of creation, removing all the static in your field. Wow, this was huge, by the way. I've done a lot of work on this stepping stone in the context of, the healing journey that I've just had with my fracture. And the 12th stepping stone is the portal of pure reception. Receiving is not passive. It is an active art of allowing. So we are so blessed. We are constantly being given that which can serve us, but we don't allow ourselves to receive. What happens on this stepping stone is you stop chasing and you become an attractor. You begin attracting by being the very thing that you desire. That is really at the key, at the core of this quantum manifestation. You become in complete harmony with that which you desire. So what is the shift that is taking place? You shift from being a manifester of something that you desire out there to actually being the field in which everything that you desire already exists. Something fundamental transforms. You're no longer directing the field. You actually become that quantum field. You're no longer trying to pull reality towards you. Reality begins to emerge from you. This is the sacred paradox of quantum mastery. You do not manifest by effort. You manifest by frequency. You're not projecting your desires. You're transmitting your truth. And that is how the quantum field responds, not to your words, but to your wholeness. So you've now walked the 12 stepping stones, and yet you have not just walked a path. What you've done with this is you've initiated a frequency. You have activated a completely new way of being. Simply by listening to this, as you allow yourself to listen, give permission to your cells to completely receive that which is being communicated to you. Let the manifestor in you land, not the one who pushes, performs, processizes, or proves, but the one who aligns, attunes, and allows. You are the new architecture of possibility. You are the sound the cosmos has been waiting to hear. You are the pulse the field is now calibrated to. You're not the wish, you are the becoming. You're not the seeker, you are the signal. You are not waiting, you are weaving. You can take on these activations for yourself. I no longer chase. I harmonize. I no longer try. I transmit. I no longer wish. I become. And that is the secret of quantum harmony that enables you to be this phenomenal quantum manifestor. Over to you, David and Helene.
Wow, that was lovely.
Oh my
That
God.
was a little.
You know, I want to tell you, there are so many books that we've read about manifestation over the years, but I have never heard anything like the way you just put it. I mean, it is amazing
With clarity.
with clarity. And the bottom line is that of all this, everything you said tonight, get out of your own way.
Yeah.
And just allow your awareness to take over. And it
Yeah.
will. And everything will just start happening. And then you just ride the train. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. I love doing it. So
We love you.
Love you.
it's like a wonderful bathing in this
Oh,
beautiful wisdom that's coming through at this time.
Please send recording immediately, Meenooji. Today's recording.
Yes, I will ask
I have
Anushri.
to listen today only.
Yes, yes, I will make sure that he does
Start
it.
working on it.
Yes, 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 yes. Please share with Sanjeev as well, Ashaji,
Yeah,
that he really could do with listening, with hearing.
right. Yeah. Yesterday I have sent. Yesterday only I sent.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
so much. Thank you.
We are truly blessed to have chosen to be here at this time.
Yes, we
Amazing.
are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.